For those of you who may or may not know me, there are two things you should know. First, I'm an extrovert, which means I'm a talker, and if you get me talking, it's pretty hard to make me stop. Secondly, I am and claim to be the most sentimental person you will probably ever meet. I promise at any point in a conversation with me, you will hear the phrase, "I remember when," before I start rattling off a million childhood memories of mine. So with that being said, I promised myself today that I would keep this short and sweet for the sake of my classmates and before I probably start crying. When I decided to do this speech, I thought what better way than to start from the very beginning, like all my great stories. September 4th, 2012 marks our first day of kindergarten. And for some of us, that was the start to the next 13 years at this school. I remember that day all so well, being so excited but also nervous. But luckily, those nerves didn't last too long because I took my little extroverted self and started talking to everyone. And pretty soon, I made connections with all the teachers and classmates. This would continue on year after year. And over those 13 years, there has been one thing that has stuck out to me, and that was our school's mission statement, which states, "At Kaleidoscope Charter School, we cultivate community by inspiring students to grow and develop curiosity in life and learning." I'd heard that so many times before, whether in our morning announcements or at our many assemblies. But over this year, it hit me a lot stronger. I believe it was no coincidence that the first statement states that we cultivate community, because that couldn't be closer to the truth. This community has given me long-lasting friendships, mentors, and at times, even therapists. This community has uplifted and supported me through some of the hardest obstacles in my life. I remember specifically in 5th grade, I was diagnosed with a progressive eye disease that would leave me partially blind. And that could have been a really isolating time, but that community stood with me and supported me. I had staff and students and classmates all support me through anything that I needed and all my resources, and I'm forever grateful. And even during our time in COVID, when we experienced middle school years through a computer screen, we have that same support. Both of these instances could have been very isolating, and yet I had a community that would lift me up and lift us up through that time. When I think on this community, there's only one word that I can think to describe it, and that would be a family. Now, I can definitely sense my classmates cringing as I call us family for probably the 100th time in these 13 years, but truly, we're a family in every way you could possibly think of. When I think of my family dynamic, I think of that it consists of the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, the moments where we're all in this together, and the moments where we want nothing to do with each other. And this is true at this school. There are moments and days where we feel like a team, and other days where we avoid each other like the plague. But this is what part of being a family is all about. Like siblings being forced to play together, we were forced into groups for various presentations or group projects. While the goal was to make us grow together and become more like a team, there was lots of frustration and bickering. But I mean, when you get to know someone for over a decade, you learn how to push their buttons and trust that people can do that. But like I said, that's part of being a family. If this past 13 years has taught me anything, it's that you can't do life alone. Truly, I'm so thankful for the community that Kaleidoscope has cultivated for me and my classmates. A community that makes me feel supported and excited to be at school. I'm thankful for the staff and the teachers who have supported all of us through every high and every low. This family has created moments that will last a lifetime. Since I only have today, I'll try to keep my memories to a short list. I'll never forget the many shenanigans that were had in Miss Mandy's room during our lab days. I'll never forget the countless plays that were reenacted in Miss Militel's room. Those days brought hilarious one-liners that I'll never forget. And I'll never forget the way we all looked forward to Murphy's class, knowing he would share another one of his crazy stories. All these memories I hold so close to my heart, and I look forward to making even more on our next journey. I encourage you all today and in the next future for you guys to cultivate a community that you can call family. I'm so proud of the one I have here. And while this community is amazing, there has been one person in my life that I could not have survived high school without. His name is Jesus. My faith has been the one constant that has kept me going on my day to day. And tonight, I wanted to share one of my favorite Bible verses that has not moved through high school. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. And truly, I mean this when I say this, I have hope for each and every one of your guys' futures. Now, I've been waiting 4,650 days to say this. Congratulations, class of 2025, we made it!